back to the Vdara. We are back at the Vdara. It's been a little bit of drama since we got here, but we are back nonetheless. We are in a Studio King. Last time you saw us, we were in a Studio Parlor King. Gotta say, probably preferred that room a little bit, but anyway, we are going to show you this room regardless. We just got here. We had a late flight today. I'm super tired. It is after 2 in the morning Toronto time, which is obviously the time zone that we're in. Vegas time, it's obviously what, 11:30 or whatever, so we're gonna do our best to try and stay awake, do this room tour. Let's show you around. Let's start at the front door. One thing I will say about the front door here is that I do appreciate all the security features. It actually does remind you to please ensure that your door is locked. You have this other little lock here, like a little latch here to keep the door locked. A lock, you got the peephole and everything, so I do appreciate the fact they are taking safety in mind. Love the full length right by the door. You guys already know that. You know, before you leave the room, you got to make sure you look okay, etc. The room setup is similar enough. Like, you are then going to be entering at the kitchen. This is an accessible room. This is not the first room that we checked in today, and I will get into that in a second. But we are now in an accessible room. So there's little touches that you will see that make this room more accessible to those who need it. So, for example, you have this little remote control here. So if you need to control the lights, things like that, it's a little bit lower. So if you're in, like, say, a wheelchair or something like that, it's good to have. Similar to our other room, you got the sink, you got the stove top, you got some, cupboards and whatnot. You can, much like our other room, if you need utensils for if you're cooking or whatnot, you can request those downstairs, which is always nice. I think there's a garbage disposal here, but maybe not. I don't know if it's a fan. Anyway, whatever. You do have the fridge and mini bar as well. We are going to make sure this stays closed because got that kind of money. But you do have the mini fridge, which is nice. You got a microwave, again, stovetop, lots of storage if you have plates and things. This is a great place if you're staying more long term. Right, so if you're cooking in the room, you're reheating leftovers, you're here on business, etc. I do like it for that. Let's continue on with the tour. As you come into this area here, I don't love when they have these adjoining doors. It makes sense to a degree, but I always am paranoid that someone's gonna come in and usually you can hear the people next door. I don't love that, is what it is though. I sort of feel like this is almost like half of a room. When you compare, I will leave a link below to the Parlor King Suite that we did a room tour last time. I find it was a much more spacious room. We could have booked that room for this stay as well, but we wanted to show you guys another option in case you were planning to book at the Vdara. You wanted to see what the different room types were like and whatnot. So I gotta say, it's not my favorite based on what we stayed at last time, but it's not bad. Entertainment unit, much like the others as well. You got your ice bucket, you got your, glasses and stuff. You got your bottle opener, which is always nice as well, so that way you don't have to call down for one if you want to open up yourself a bottle of wine. You got the bottle opener, which is handy to have. Again, we will not be touching any of this stuff. This is all going to be on a sensor. If you touch any of it, you will get charged. Do not touch it. It is nice to have the couch in the room. It's kind of oddly positioned though. I mean, like, the TV's there, couch is here. You're kind of like, if you're sat here, you're sort of looking into the kitchen. It's kind of an odd position, but at the same time, this does pull out. So I guess it kind of does make sense in that sense that if you want to pull these little coffee tables out of the way, you can have two people sleeping on this sofa bed quite easily. They do actually have extra blankets and pillows and whatnot in the closet area as well, which is nice to have as well. Got a little work desk as well, so if you gotta get some work done, you're here on business. That's handy to have. I do like that. This iPad or Crave unit or whatever it's called has been a little bit finicky. It's working now, it looks like, but it wasn't working a second ago. This is how you can control a lot of stuff in the room, do a lot of booking, in-suite dining, things like that. This is handy to have. They have something like this in the RA as well. I do like this, but this one has been acting up a little bit. Beautiful king size bed. Last time we stayed at Vdara, we slept really, really well, so I am excited to sleep in this bed. I do notice, just looking at it right now, you do have a pillow there that says Aria on it. A little bit of cross promotion. Anyway, let's check out the bathroom. So as mentioned, this is an accessible room. You're gonna notice some little touches in here that will allude to that as well. Of course, you got the sliding door, much like the other room we had. Just the frosted glass, so enough privacy that probably if you're staying in this room with someone, it's gonna be more so for like a couple or whatnot. I can't see many people wanting to have another couple or another, you know, more people sleeping on that sofa bed because nothing else privacy, but anyway. Little closet here. This is not gonna store too much. I mean, I don't really know what you're gonna put in here. Like this, to me, if you were living in here, you'd probably put like extra toilet paper and whatnot in here, but I don't know what you'd keep in here if you're just staying here, but anyway. The bath is very low, very different to the bath that we had in the parlor suite, but you know, probably not gonna be taking a bath. Don't love the shower curtain, but anyway, whatever. Again, very much accessible. You have, you know, the handheld washer as well. So if you are planning on taking a bath, there's lots of handrails as well. So if you do need that extra support or balance, I like the shower. It's very spacious. I do like the fact that it is accessible. It is very tough to pull. It's very tough. It does make sense though because there's no real ledge there. So they do have this sort of plastic rubber kind of thing at the bottom to make sure the water isn't going to come out. But anyway. And there's also a seat in here as well, so if you do require it, there is that, you know, seat in there in case you do need, you know, that extra bit of help. The toiletries look different to me. We were just here like last summer. I don't remember them being this Kinu, I don't know the brand, scent of Asian garden, but this must be new because when we were here last time, it was a different brand. So we'll have to try that one out when we will report back later. Again, like decent vanity. It is accessible. I do find this countertop to be a little on the higher side considering this is an accessible room. Another thing I find kind of bizarre is the height of this toilet roll. Now, if this is an accessible room, you got to think that they should be sort of catering to people who maybe are in, you know, wheelchairs or things like that. I just find this to be quite high up. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe there's a method to this, and leave a comment below if you maybe know more than I do as to why this is so high up, but I do find it a little bit bizarre. You do have a phone in here as well, so you know, if you are feeling inspired or, you know, maybe you need a little bit of extra help or you're having a problem, at least you do have a phone in there, but most people probably have a cell phone with them anyway. The closet is pretty spacious. You do have the safe in there, which is great. As mentioned, you do also have the extra pillows and blankets and whatnot. So if you do need some, you know, extra sort of amenities, if you have someone else staying in the room, you have that option. So that is nice to have, but yeah, decent closet. All right, guys, so I gotta be honest with you, this sort of check-in experience has been a little bit disappointing, to say the least. So this is actually our second room tonight. It is late. Like I mentioned, for us right now, it's 2:30 in the morning. We're tired. We've been on a flight, etc. So you can probably tell it in my voice and my lack of expression and emotion right now that I'm exhausted. But anyway, this is our second room. Our first room was very similar to this. It was not accessible, but there was an overwhelming smell of cat pee as soon as we got into the room. And just a sort of prelude to that, like as soon as we got out of the elevator, we could definitely get a smell of, the best way I could describe it to my Italian friends is a cantina. So like a cold cellar type environment. It just smelled like musty and not very nice. And as like I said, as soon as we got into the room, it just stunk. We did call down to the front. We were on hold for quite a while actually, but then when we finally got through to somebody, their first solution to us was to bring up some air freshener. Not gonna cut it, like it stunk. Not to mention just the overall cleanliness of the room. It looked like there was like spit or something up the wall, so it just was not the ticket. Like this was not gonna cut it. So we went downstairs, got switched to this room. I will say, comparing this room to the parlor, it's no contest to me. I would definitely pick the Parlors over this room. Both of them would have been comped for us. We are staying here comped. I will mention that as well. Not because of this video or anything like that. Vdara does not know we're filming or anything like that. This is just purely through our comps through MGM. So yeah, I would definitely pick the Parlor suite over this one, no contest. So like I mentioned, we are here pretty late tonight. Like Vice Versa, for example, is already closed. So we're thinking of going downstairs to, you know, even just get a drink or something, but that's already closed. So we'll probably save that for breakfast for tomorrow. Quite honestly, like the way we're feeling right now, we are pretty zonked. We're probably just gonna crash, get some sleep. Maybe if we're feeling brave, we'll like walk over to Aria or something and play a little bit, but I have a feeling we're probably just gonna end up just getting comfortable and just going for a snooze. So I will check in with you guys tomorrow morning, let you guys know how we slept, the overall experience of the room, etc., etc. Yeah, I'm tired. I'll check with you guys in the morning. Good night. So one thing I did forget to mention is that you do have these controls right here as well. So this is gonna be for like the curtains, the shades, whatnot. So you can actually control the shade and the blackout curtain from this little button over here. The view, I will say, the view that we had the last time, you could, if you remember, we had a view of like the Sphere, of the Bellagio fountains, etc. This view is a little less desirable. We've got like Allegiant Stadium, we've got Aria, I can see Mandalay Bay, Delano, Luxor, etc. Like it's still kind of neat that you can see a little bit of Vegas and like this and that, but like, let's be real. Most of the time now, like everyone who comes here, you want a Bellagio view, you want a Sphere view, etc. But one thing I didn't actually mention is we are only going to be here for less than 12 hours. We are actually checking out tomorrow. We are heading to another hotel. This was just a one night little stop that we had planned because we had such a late flight. We thought, let's go somewhere that's sort of quiet and comfortable where we can just basically lay our heads and chill for the night. And then we'll move somewhere tomorrow morning. So we actually are moving to a different hotel tomorrow. There will be another room tour for that. So you will be seeing that as well. So stay tuned, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of the future content. If you're not already subscribed, there are tons of Vegas, like hotel reviews, restaurant reviews, show reviews, etc. on my channel. So make sure you're subscribed. It's totally free for you. Obviously helps me keep delivering this free content to you. So I really appreciate it. But anyway, Cody's pushing me to go to Aria. I would love just to go to bed right now because I am absolutely knackered, but I think we're going to Aria, unfortunately. So we're probably gonna play a little bit, go to bed, check in with you in the morning, let you know how we slept. Hopefully there are no surprise cats or anything in this room because that last room absolutely stunk. Yeah, talk to you then. Good night. Good morning, campers. Slept really well last night. Gonna head downstairs to Vice Versa. I always forget the name of this place. To Vice Versa. We're gonna grab a bite from there. I'll show you in a minute. All right, we just got sat down at Vice Versa Lounge. We are gonna get something to eat. We started out with some Irish coffees. This is gonna be like Bailey's. What is it? Maybe some Irish whiskey, coffee, and whipped cream. Best part of waking up. All right, so our Irish coffee has just arrived. Oh yeah, that's a good way to start the day. Both end up being the 3-egg breakfast. I love when places have like a vegetarian option. So I got the vegetarian sausage, mine egg scrambled, comes with potatoes, $26. $3 extra for the breakfast, sorry for the vegetarian sausage, but that's fine. Cody got his eggs dippy, and he got the maple bacon sauce. Sorry, maple sausage? Maple sausage. I got confirmation. Anyway, we're gonna have our little Irish coffees and wait for our food to come. Okay, so he's got his food, but he's not the camera girl, so he's got his dippy eggs. How are the dippy eggs, Cody? Delicious. They're delicious. So I've got my vegetarian sausage, my scrambled eggs. These potatoes look really good. There's a lot of food here. I don't know if I'm gonna eat this, but I'm gonna give it the old college try. These little vegetarian sausages look really good. They're like round little patties. I'm gonna give it a really quick try just to see what it's like. Really good. Really good flavor there. Scrambled eggs. Again, I just want to try everything really quickly. With the potato. We'll do a little ketchup dip. Everything's really good. We're going to finish this food off before it gets cold. And then we're going to head up to the room and I'll give you my final thoughts of just our experience at Vdara. I'm stuffed. That was a very big breakfast. It's funny, we only went to Vice Versa just because there's not a whole lot of dining options in the Vdara. There's literally Vice Versa. There's a little like market area where you can get drinks, like, you know, like pops and whatever to take with you, breakfast sandwiches as well. And there's a Starbucks. That's it. It's very small. You know, I mentioned a couple things about Aria and, you know, mentioning that with the pillows. Even the toiletries I noticed have Aria on them as well. I should have mentioned in the beginning, this is a sister property to Aria, so there's no casino here, but I guess the whole thought is that if you're gonna go gamble, you can go, you know, right over to Aria. You could actually go to Bellagio as well, because there's a walkway there, and there's a newly open walkway over to the Cosmopolitan, which we just checked out as well, which has just recently been open. So glad that's there. It's very convenient. I'm really happy that's there. So I will say breakfast was expensive. So we had a $50 resort credit because we booked this directly through MGM through Cody's comp. So we are staying here for free. We are platinum as well, so we aren't paying the resort fee. So this was a free stay. Again, we only did this just because we were flying in pretty late last night. I don't typically like to do it that way. I usually like to fly in the morning so you have sort of a full day ahead of you. But unfortunately, for some reason, the flights were just a little bit off now. It does seem like they get a little bit better later on in the year, but for some reason, seemed like winter they did really slow down on our end coming here. So anyway, so we flew in at night. We just wanted basically somewhere quiet to rest our heads pretty much. We thought Vdara is a great choice. We stayed here last year, really enjoyed it. Had a different experience this time. But anyway, talking about Vice Versa, our $50 resort credit didn't go too far because our breakfast still somehow managed being like over $100. So go figure. Probably would have been a lot cheaper to go over to, you know, across the street to Planet Hollywood and get something from, you know, like La Salsa or whatever. But oh well, we tried something new. I did appreciate, and I always appreciate when they have some sort of a vegetarian option for me. You know, like I had the veggie sausages. Yeah, I just appreciate when they do consider that. I know a lot of people do, whether they're full-on vegetarian, vegan, whatever. I know a lot more people are eating less meat, so it's nice to see that they do provide, you know, those options, even if you aren't like a full-on vegetarian, if maybe you just want a change of taste or whatever. So firstly, the location. I mean, if you saw my other video, I did hype up Vdara, and again, I will leave that link down below for you guys to check out. I do highly recommend you check that video out if you haven't seen it yet. The room there we had was phenomenal. You know, I'll get into the room in a second, but location wise, it's pretty good location. You are kind of far back from the strip, which depending on what you're looking for, you know, could be good or bad. You are walkable to a lot of things though, like Aria, now with that bridge to Cosmos I mentioned, Bellagio. So if you do need to get to the strip, there are options for you. There also is an elevator just actually outside as well. So if you want to get down to Harmon, for example, you can do that, walk down to the strip. So another option for you, but location is pretty good. You're pretty central. Can't really complain too much about that. The room itself, I will say I was a bit disappointed. I was disappointed on our first room of this trip. The moment we got off the elevator on that floor, it just was an immediate smell of like wet basement kind of. It just really stunk. It was very musty, whatever you want to call it. Really smelled it immediately. As soon as we got into the room, it was just like a slap in the face of cat pee. Now, was it cat pee? I don't know. I know some people do bring their pets here. I don't think cats are allowed here, but I'm sure that doesn't stop people from trying to sneak in their animals. There was definitely an odor though. You know, I could see behind one chair there was a wet spot. Now that could have just been an old stain. It could have been a new stain. I have no idea, but there was a wet spot. We know some, you know, marks on the wall that Cody thought looked like spit. I thought maybe it was glue. Whatever it was, shouldn't have been there. Just little things like that that we just weren't comfortable with. We called down the front desk. We were on hold for a while, which I thought was bizarre because it was pretty late at night. I didn't think that it would take that long. And their first solution was that they'd get someone to come by and bring us some air freshener. That wasn't going to cut it. It was definitely a cleanliness issue at that point. That some air freshener was not going to do the job. So fortunately, we did end up going down to the front desk, and she switched us right away to another room. We are in an accessible room, so I do notice some differences for sure. Last night I was not fully with it, to be honest with you. I was super tired from the long plane ride and it being very late at night for us. You know, we do get up pretty early in Toronto, and then coming here with the 3-hour time difference, having a late flight, etc. You know, by the time we did the room tour, it was what, 2:30 in the morning for us. So it was late, so I wasn't 100% with it. Now understanding more so this being an accessible room, I understand, you know, why it's laid out the way it is. I don't personally love the layout, but I understand it now. So this room is definitely a little bit like wider than the last room we had, which was the studio parlor. That said, the studio parlor was a lot longer. So we had sort of like a bit of a floating floating divider wall in between that, where we had a TV on our side where the bedroom would have been, and a TV on the other side, which would have been where like the living room was. I really did actually like that because it did separate. It almost made the room feel bigger. I know some people said it made it feel smaller, but I actually felt it made it seem bigger because you had like almost a separate living room where we did have our friends staying with us for the last night of the trip, of that stay. And they were able to stay comfortably, having a little bit of privacy. I mean, only so much, obviously, because we were still at the same time, you know, in the same room, basically. But at least they felt like they were in a bit of a separate room. This does have the pull-out couch, but it's sort of in an awkward position where if you're sitting on it, you're sort of just looking into the kitchen. So, you know, you're not really looking at the TV. It's just a weird layout, but again, I understand why it's laid out the way it is, because if you do have, you know, accessibility issues and you are, say, in a wheelchair or something like that, you do need, obviously, the space to move around. So I do understand it, but I guess because we don't have those requirements, it didn't really make sense for us. Same with the bathroom. I did find that the bathroom was much wider than the bathroom in the parlor suite. Again, makes sense if you do have, you know, a chair or whatever the case is that you need that room to move around. I do understand why it was the way it was. The shower was very bizarrely made as well. Like the water was, you sort of go up maybe about an inch, so all the water was actually coming out into the bathroom, which wasn't really designed the best. They did have that bit of a rubber stopper, but it was empty on both ends, so water was still coming out. We had to put a towel down because there was a lot of water on the floor. So again, just not really laid out the best, I would say. That said, the shower was really nice. Really love the toiletries. I've never seen those toiletries here before. I think that must be a newer thing for the Aria Vdara, because I swear when we were here the last time, they were different toiletries. These ones smelled great. I really did like them. Again, they are branded Aria because, as I mentioned, we are a sister property to Aria right now. So yeah, it was, they were nice though. They were very good. I mean, I know I had some, I guess, complaints initially. I think that because the room we had last year at Vdara, the parlor suite, was so much better. I think when we came into this room, there was a little bit disappointing because maybe we were expecting that a little bit. In all honesty, we probably should have just booked that room, but because we wanted to show you guys a different room in the Vdara, that's why we booked this particular one. So that way, if you are planning on booking there, you can see two different options of, you know, what you can get. From my knowledge, they are around the same price, if not the same price. Again, we did get comped for both rooms, so I don't really know exactly what the cost would have been. And again, it fluctuates so much. We are here in January. You know, we are here right after New Year's as well. So prices are funny, right? Because you could say that it's a quiet time in Vegas because it is after New Year's, but at the same time it's around New Year's, so there's people here from that, so it's sort of a funny time to be here. But anyway, for us it was comped. If you do have a choice between the two, I would strongly recommend getting the parlor suite. Again, I will link the video down below. Check that room out. For me, it was a million times better, no contest. I would definitely take that room any day. That said, had I not had that room first and I would have stayed in this room first, I don't think I would have complained too much. I probably wouldn't have been like excited about it. It would have been comfortable. It would have been fine. It does its job. We slept really well. The bed is super comfortable. I'm usually a 2-pillow guy. I only needed 1 pillow because the pillows were so big and fluffy. Again, slept really well. Now again, is this spot right for you? Obviously, this being an accessible room, the obvious choice, if you do have any accessibility issues or whatever the case is, this would be a great room for you because it does have those, I guess, requirements in mind with the design, with the layout, etc. So obviously if that is a requirement for you, then this is probably going to be a great room for you. I like the Vdara in general just because I do think it's a great place to sort of get a little bit of peace and tranquility almost. You are sort of far enough away from the strip, but still close enough if you do need to get around. You also do, there's no casino in here, so if you want to sort of get away from the hustle and bustle, you will have that. I find this is definitely a very, to me, it seems like business travelers, you've got the work areas, you've got, almost like a little apartment in a way that if you were staying here longer term for, some business requirements or whatever the case is, I think this would be a good place for you. This also seems like a place for like those health conscious people, those people who just want to relax, go to the gym, go to the spa, get pampered. And it does seem like that environment. Even this morning when we went downstairs, there's a lot of people in like their workout gear and whatnot. So it does seem like very much that sort of health and wellness crowd would probably enjoy this type of an environment. Anyway, I didn't want to ramble too much because, like I said, you know, we were here last year. You already got a bit of a taste of the Vdara if you saw that video. If you haven't, definitely go check that one out. If you are new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. It is completely free for you. It really does help me keep delivering this free content to you as well. There's a button right in the corner there. Again, totally free for you. Really helpful for me. Would really appreciate it. If I've forgotten anything at all, do not hesitate to leave comments below. If you guys notice, I respond to pretty much every comment that you guys leave for me. Really helpful to other travelers if they have the same questions as you do. 90% of the time they probably do, and it's also helpful for me because any interaction you have with my videos, it really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Whether you're, you know, commenting, liking, sharing, etc., would really appreciate it. Goes a long way for me. Anyway, we did get the late checkout, but we are encroaching very closely on that time frame, so we are going to move on to our next hotel, which I'm really excited to show you guys. It is a place we've stayed before, but it's a room that you guys haven't seen on this channel yet, so we're really excited for that. Once again, this is Vdara Spotlight. Viva Las Vegas, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.